Hi, this is Glenda, and I'm making today a white soap, or at least I hope it's going to be white. It's going to be a solid color. And first I am adding 1 teaspoon of titanium dioxide to the oils, and I'm going to blend them by themselves first before adding the lye. Okay, so I have about 54 ounces of oils here, so it's almost 4 pounds, more like 3 something actually. Now the oils were at 102 Fahrenheit, which is 38 Celsius. And the water with the lye solution is at 37 Celsius, which is 99 Fahrenheit. The fragrance that I will be using is sweet orange chili pepper, and in the description said that it might accelerate. So for this recipe, it probably means that it will accelerate because it has about 60% of solid fats, and I'm doing a water discount, considerable. So I've added the light water. I'm going to stir it first, and then I'm going to do quick bursts with a blender. And I chose this mold because it gives me a very large surface area to do the technique for the soap challenge. I made the mold to be 4 inches tall and 3 inches wide. So what I'm doing here is that I'm doing short pulses with the stick blender and then stirring it with the spoon, and I did this for about 50 seconds to a minute. I just want to bring it to a very light trace, that way I can add the fragrance and pour it. I can feel that it's getting thicker, but I still don't see a trace yet, but it's almost there. So here I did about another minute of quick bursts and then stirring with the stick blender. The stick blender was only on for about 1 to 2 seconds, maybe 3 at the most at a time. So it's really short. I usually use the stick blender for like 10-15 seconds at a time, but I'm trying to learn how soon this recipe comes to trace, so I'm being very patient because of that. Usually it's a lot faster. Okay, it is emulsified. It's not quite at a light trace yet, but I can feel it getting thicker, so I think it's getting ready to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and add the fragrance, and I'm just going to whisk it in. So far it looks good. I don't see the fragrance misbehaving, so I'm going to do a quick blend. So now I'm going to stick blend it until it reaches light trace or any kind of trace, because I want to pour it and be able to unmold it on the next day. And I know that if I pour the soap and it is too fluid, it's gonna take longer to be ready to come out of the mold. Alright, so it is now at a very light trace, so I'm going to go ahead and pour. So that's pretty much it. Now I'm just gonna let it set, and in a couple days, maybe, if not sooner, I will unmold it and be ready for the next step of the challenge. About 22 hours later, it felt solid enough to come out of the mold, so I attempted to unmold it. I did notice that it seems to have like a yellow tint to it, and the fragrance is not supposed to discolor. It has 0% vanillin, but I did notice that it looked very orange in the container, so I don't know if that's what's gonna give it this yellowy tone or not. Alright, that was tricky. It seems it gelled on this side over here. And I did have some leakage into the mold on the corners. So I had made this liner for the mold out of cutting mats, like plastic cutting mats, and I forgot that I had taped them to the mold, and I had taped it to itself. So that's what made this so particularly difficult to unmold. So I went ahead and cut it. I didn't expect anything to be different on the inside. The color should be the same, but we'll see. So after I cut the first bar, I noticed that there is a gel ring. It's quite round and nice, but I don't want it there. Usually they go away in the soaps that I've made, but if it doesn't, I may just have to oven process it and even it out. So I went ahead and cut 3 more bars, and on the second one you will see that the gel ring is even bigger. So what I decided to do was just to stop and not cut the rest of the loaf after the third one, and I let it sit for another day. I actually did not want this soap to gel. I had not insulated it, and I just left it out in the open underneath an AC vent, and I thought that it was gonna be fine. And here I'm comparing the width against the regular bar, and I can see that they are indeed wider, so I'm gonna have more room for the design. 12 hours later, I noticed that the color seems to have evened out on its own. I mean, I can still see where the circle was, but it doesn't look so distinct in color. And I went ahead and cut the rest of the bars, and as you will see on these ones, I cannot see a gel ring at all. It seems to just be all even. So I think it was a good decision to wait to cut the rest. Perhaps it was still doing its thing yesterday. A few days later, when they felt more firm, I went ahead and beveled the edges and also planed the front of the soap because it did feel like it had some texture, perhaps from the fragrance. I'm not sure, but I needed it to be smooth for the next step. If you want to see the second step of this technique, which is the actual soap embroidery, go to part 2, which I will link in the description box and also after this video. Thank you.